Good morning, daily huddlers. Have you noticed that so many people have nut allergies now? But you know what we haven't noticed? Do you know how to know if your nuts have allergies?
No.
You can hear them go, cashew. You know, I don't know. Cashew.
I love it. I love it.
See, I think it's impressive you made it up. I need credit for that.
I think it's concerning, actually.
There are more concerning things in my brain, I promise.
Okay. Good. I'm feeling good this Wednesday morning. Good morning, daily huddlers. I missed you all last week. So happy to be here on Wednesday with you all, where we talk communication and relationships. Why? Because we know that more effective communication makes for better relationships, and better relationships, aren't they what makes this world a better place? So I am joined by my dear friend and co-host, Kathryn Sabol, and we are going to ask a few questions before we dig into the question of the day. And I am so happy to see Andrea. I'm going to start with you this morning. Please tell me, beautiful lady, how are you and where are you?
Well, Tara, I am the way I say I am, and today I'm awake. I'm walking in spirit and mind and everything. It's a good thing. What was the second question?
Where are you?
Oh, I am right where I need to be, which is right here.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for the spirit you bring, Andrea. And speaking of beautiful spirits, let's talk to Sorrel this morning. Tell me, Sorrel, what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for this little throwover and jacket. It's keeping me warm. Nice. I love the cold weather, but I love to protect myself against it too. I'm grateful for warmth.
I love it. I love it. You look good in it too. You always look good in black. You always look good anyway. Darn it. Let's see. Let's ask our buddy Chase to tell us. Good morning, Chase. Can you tell us what time it is?
The time is now. Right now.
I love it. I love it. The only time that matters. Thank you. And I have one last question. And I'm going to ask Kathryn this question. Kathryn, who will you hug today?
Tara, I am going to hug you today.
I can't wait.
I knew that's what I was going to say.
I hope so.
Yes, we get to hang out later.
That's awesome. Well, dig into our question of the day and how we're going to shift from that, Kathryn.
Yeah. So the question of the day, I'm so glad you guys have joined us today on Wednesday, where we talk relationships and communication. Our question is, what can we learn from seeing the world through the eyes of those who see it differently? And we had a whole place where we were going to go with this, but we've shifted it a little bit because Tara and I had a really powerful experience Monday night. And it started because I've been researching organizations that can serve my son. As many of you know, he has special needs. And so Tara and I've been talking a lot, and I found an organization called ESP, Extra Special People. And so I messaged Tara. They were having a family dinner on Monday night. And I said, have you ever heard of this place? And she said, oh my gosh, we're totally involved with that place. I'll see you at dinner on Monday night. So we chatted a little bit before, and Tara said, listen, I want to let you know you're going to meet somebody Monday night. And that got me really curious. I said, Tara, who am I going to meet? And Tara, you want to take it from here?
Sure. I'll tell you a little bit more about the evening, and I think it will reveal who Kathryn was able to meet on Monday night. So Caroline, my daughter, who also has special needs, and I have been to the ESP activities for many years. And on Monday night, there was a family dinner, and we knew that Caroline's good friend Mallory was going to be there with her mom, Geneva, who is my friend. And I invited another mom to go with us, and her daughter, who is Caroline's age and very similar to Caroline in her disabilities. She's had a brain injury and some severe physical limitations as well. So I invited them to go with us. And we get there and we see Kathryn and we see Michael, and we're waiting for a little while. I'm there with the young woman and her daughter, Emily, that I invited to come with us because they had not heard of ESP and they were excited to learn more. And I was happy to share that with them. Well, when Mallory, Caroline's friend, walked in with her mom, Geneva, Mallory and Geneva saw the woman and the young girl, Emily, that I brought with me. And they were delighted. Clearly, they knew each other. Mallory said, "Oh, Emily." And Emily said, "Mallory." And they hugged, and it was a reunion because they hadn't seen each other in several years. They had been going to the special needs division of Kennesaw State University together, but they've long since graduated, but clearly remembered each other. So the night rocked along a little bit more, and Geneva said, "So you know Emily?" And yeah, I said, "Yeah." And she said, do you know them through ESP? And I said, "No, I brought them here tonight. Actually, they've never been to ESP." And then the night rocked along a little bit more, and I sat down with Geneva, Mallory's mom, who had recently been to Caroline's birthday party. And we started talking, and she said, "How's your son, Tara? How's your son doing?" And I said, "Well, Geneva," I said, "I don't know how much you know about my son's story." And she said, "Well, Caroline is very open. So I think I know a little bit." And I said, "So you know that he got out of prison this year in January?" And she said, "Yes, I gathered that." And I said, "Well, Wilson found drinking at a young age, and it was to his demise. And one evening he was driving after having been drinking, and he hit someone." And she said, "Oh." And I said, "Geneva, that's how I know Emily. Emily is the young woman that Wilson hit." And as you might imagine, she was floored. And she didn't say anything at first. She just grabbed my hand. And we just sat there, two women, just taking in what we had just experienced together. And she finally said, "I've known Emily's story for a long time." And she said, "Now I see a complete other side to it." It was a moment that I will tell you I will never forget, which certainly feeds into what we're talking about today. Is we think we make assumptions. We think we know whole stories. We see things through one lens. And by opening our minds and our hearts and looking for opportunities to continue to grow and learn and embrace other people, and learn to forgive ourselves, and learn to have compassion. When we stay sensitive and open to this, we're earning opportunities. And I certainly could have, and I'm going to tell you all, it was not an easy conversation, as you might imagine. I certainly could have just said, "Oh, we've known them for a while." I could have skirted the issue, but I reminded myself something that I've said to myself for a long time, and it is that I find confidence and pride in not what happens in my life, but the way I respond to it. And as difficult as our past is, I think it would be more shameful to hide from it. So it was an enlightening experience, and that's who Kathryn got to meet on Monday evening.
Yeah, Tara, I am so in awe of you that you're able to share so openly. But more than that, when you told me that you had invited them to the dinner, I said, "Oh my God, you're amazing." And you said, "Don't say that." But the reason I said that is because I'd love to think that I would do the same in your shoes, but it would be so easy to hide behind the curtain and not invite them, not be part of their lives. I mean, aside from what you experienced with Mallory's mom, to be in contact with Emily and her mom, that must be difficult.
Yeah, well, difficult doesn't even begin to say it. But when I watch Emily, who has still trouble walking, trouble communicating, trouble speaking, and knowing that it was my son that caused this accident, if I allow myself to continue to focus on that and nothing more, then I wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't be able to walk around, because much of Wilson's suffering was due to the fact that his sister was very much like Emily. So when you wrap all that together, to me, Kathryn, I only have one choice, and it is to try to bring good from this tragedy. It is my absolute responsibility. And I could have chosen to never reach out to them, and they may have not been open to it. But interestingly, it will be 10 years in February since this accident.
Wow.
And I have promised myself through all that two things would prevail. One is truth, and one is a commitment to bringing something positive for someone somewhere. And they're at the top of that list. So anything that I uncover that could help Emily in any way, or her family, I just see it as my responsibility. And that's how I'm able to walk around with my head held high.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a tribute to you that you think you only have one choice, because the truth is you don't, and many people don't take that path. A lot of people do choose to hide. And I love that you are taking that path and saying, I'm going to bring good from this. So it was really powerful for me to witness that and be in the room with you all. I didn't know the side about Mallory in Geneva, but just to be in the room with you all and to watch Emily and to get to know her. Honestly, she's really funny. She's hysterical. She was telling jokes, and but it really boggled my mind. It blew my mind. Most of us don't deal with the complexity like that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. And then to put yourself right in the middle of it and have these experiences. It's mind-blowing to me. And then to think about Geneva looking at this situation where she's known the story of Emily for so long, and she's known your story, and not about Wilson, but about Caroline, and you've known her and she's known Caroline. And then for that to open the whole picture, that to me is what we're talking about, is how do we see the world not through judgment? How do we show up with, what we call assuming positive intent? Mm-hmm. Because you never know what somebody's going through. And she could have judged that story and said, whoever did this to Emily is awful or whatever, and given a lot of words to that and not been open to the other side of it.
Mm-hmm. Don't you think that if you hear that story, that someone is hit by a drunk driver, don't you make them the villain? They are. I mean, they're the criminal. There's no doubt about that. And we own that. Mm-hmm. But we don't ever humanize that side of the story. And I think having Wilson behind bars for so many years really opened my eyes to most people who have become a criminal in one way or the other. There's a backstory there, if not all of them. I'm not saying that they're just to be forgiven. They still have to have consequences like everyone else, but they're not just innately, what someone said to me one time, bad guys. I mean, they have a path and a past and a history that we don't know how we would have responded to. We can't know because we haven't walked in their shoes. Yeah, that's what this conversation about, having an open perspective, how much that helps us to grow and be better as people.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but after having kids, I did start to think about, because yes, of course, you never want anything terrible to happen to your children, but I often thought about raising the kids and trying to get them to be good humans. And I thought, what about the mom of the person who did the thing? This is long before I met you. Okay. And when I met you, I was like, oh my God, because I don't know how I would deal with that. It's one thing for something bad to happen to your child, but for your child to do something bad, I couldn't comprehend that. And then when I met you, I was like, oh my God, you're the mom of the child who did the thing. It was really eye-opening, and then to hear your side of the story. So I think what you're saying is, there's always a story. Mm-hmm. Always. That person was not born like that, most likely. Things happen to people and people respond in different ways. And I think you even said it this morning when we were talking about Geneva. It was like she had compassion in a different way than she had before.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I hear what you're saying, because it's that othering mentality, like, oh, that's other people. Mm-hmm. And I think the ultimate fail as a parent is to think that your child does something terrible enough to go be put behind bars. Like that's pretty much the ultimate fail.
Mhm.
And I know that's how people see it, and they wonder how they would be walking around. But that's where choices come in. You know, it's all in how we respond to it. If I could change the past, certainly I would, and certainly so would Wilson and Emily and her family, but we can't. So we just have to find strength in how we respond to it.
I think it takes an incredible amount of confidence too. Self-love, self-care, and confidence. Like you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself enough not to let yourself go there, because some people do. Some people then turn to drinking and drugs to not be able to deal with the things that they're going through. That was a choice of yours. You could have done that, unlikely, but you've got to love yourself enough and know that you can make a difference in the world. I think it's often overlooked.
Yes. Interesting. I haven't really thought about it that way, but I'm sure there's a lot of truth in that. And it's some folks, and I think sometimes people that have been through trauma and tragedy like you have, we project that on other people in another way. We say, well, if I can do it, you can, come on, suck it up. Your problems are
Yeah.
seem small in comparison, but we all have our path and our journey and our physiological selves that contribute to how we do respond to tough things. And we can't do anything about yesterday, but looking at things through different eyes. The first time that I met Emily was several years ago. We went to lunch with our daughters, and this just goes to how, it's hard to know what's in her mind. She communicates a little bit better than Caroline. She's a little bit quicker, but very similar, and has a similar sense of humor. And we were sitting, talking, having lunch, not talking anything about the accident. And out of nowhere, she only has one arm that is useful. And so she had to reach across her hamburger, and she grabbed my arm, and she just looked at me and she said, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I just want you to know it's not your fault." I know. I mean, we weren't talking about that in any way. And this little young woman whose life is forever irrevocably changed, something in her wanted me to know that she forgave me. And I didn't know what her perspective was.
Wow.
I feel like we're shifting from our question, which we were afraid we were.
That's really funny, because I actually think we're right on it, because it's seeing the eyes through the world, through eyes of the people who see it differently. That's forgiveness. What if we saw the world through that lens of forgiveness?
Yeah.
If that's where we started, if we started with assuming positive intent, assuming that whatever just happened, I feel wronged, but let me assume that is not what this person intended, because the brain will look for evidence for whatever we plug in there. And so if we say, I'm assuming positive intent, my brain is going to go look for that. So seeing the world through compassion, through forgiveness, through assuming positive intent, I think would shift a lot.
That's big for me, the assuming positive intent. You mentioned that. And yeah, if we just take that as our mantra out into the world, how might we see things differently?
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many conversations just yesterday would have changed. I thought they did this, and therefore, and you come at it from a different way. So it's really, it's super powerful. And anyway, and there's one other piece that we started with, and so we have some questions, which is, and we've talked a little bit about it, but seeing opportunities. When you see the world through the eyes of somebody who sees it differently, there are opportunities there. And you saw an opportunity to bring Emily to this dinner and to expose them to something that could be beneficial to them and a positive experience. And I think that's the other thing, is seeing the world where there are always opportunities everywhere. Because like I said, I would probably not see that as an opportunity. I would want to hide behind the curtain. I mean, who knows? No one knows how they'll handle things, but that, I think, is a huge testament to who you are as a person.
Oh, thank you, Kathryn.
Okay, let's see what we've got for some questions. Chase.
Woo. Wow.
Good morning.
Right?
Tara.
Happy Wednesday.
See, Oh man, I have so much stuff I want to say, and I'm just trying to capsulize it. So, one of my favorite quotes in the world, I say it all the time, is uh, forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I'm
Wow.
going to say it again. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. So when you said that, when you told that story, it reminded me of I think Oprah followed this story where a young boy had shot another young boy, and he went to prison, and the mother of the boy who shot the other boy, uh, killed him. She followed the kid through his time incarcerated, and when he got out, she was there because she wanted to provide him a place to live, a job, and to be near him so that his life would not veer in the wrong direction. I mean, imagine that. Someone kills your son and you follow them to make sure nothing happens. I think it was the next apartment over or something like that. And I thought, oh my goodness, like, wow,
I think I remember this story. Yeah.
oh my gosh, it was like incredible. People were like, what's wrong with you? Why would you help them? And it's
Right.
like so interesting because even though I know this and this is my way of life, and I've done things that people don't agree with that are full of compassion and open heartedness, whatever, that's what I come from. That's the people I come from. But the thing is, I think one of the reasons people don't operate in this fashion is because you have to walk alone when you do this. It's so easy to hang with everybody. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? You hate him too? I hate that guy. Oh my God, what a terrible guy. But when you're the person that's like, you guys, I have the solution. Let's do this. They're like, what? Are you crazy? We're not doing that. And
That's the confidence. That's the confidence I spoke about. You're right.
right. And that's what happens when you walk alone. I walk alone all the time. I have thousands of friends, but I walk alone in my perspective and my paradigms about certain things because they're like, last week I was walking with a guy. A guy came up to me in Union Square. People always come up to me, by the way. Homeless people come up to me every 5 seconds. And I think they feel me because it can't be. They're always coming up to me. So a guy came up to me and he said, hey, man, what's up? I'm trying to get some money to get some food. I said, what do you want to eat? He said, I'll take anything. Let's go to this Wendy's. I said, okay. And my friend was with me looking at me like I was a Martian. And we went and we got him some food or whatever. He goes, why'd you do that? I said, he was hungry. He goes, but you don't know if he used that money. I said, no, don't say it because you just saw me give him food. He goes, yeah, but what if you, and we had a whole conversation about what if I just gave him money and if he went to go get drugs. And I was like, but I just gave him food. Look how he ate the food. He ate it ravenously like he hasn't had a meal in 8 years. And he was like, you're something different, Chase. I don't know about you. And he was so like upset that I did that. It was the weirdest thing. So I really just got on to say, like, I commend you, but I know that this path is the path of just, it's the highest path. It's the best path of fluidity and forward motion. We're just not taught that. The things that we see around us inundate us with the anger and the fear and the holding in and whatever. So we go, oh, I'm just going to sit right here. Or we don't say anything. Like, we don't even, like, people who want to do what I'm talking about, they're like, nah, my people will all think I'm crazy. I'm not going to do that. I just move in silence, right? I mean, they say that the best way to donate to someone or to give to someone, the highest vibration of it is to just do it in silence. Just drop $300 off at somebody's house or just send somebody something with a postal money order, no name, no, whatever. I'm told through my daily study of personal development, that's the highest vibration. Don't look for anything. Just do it, affect the situation, and walk away. Like, we're not taught that normally. We're just really not taught that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this story. Thank you so much. It filled me up.
Thank you.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorrel.
Wednesday never fails. Kathryn and Tara, thank you. And I almost feel as if I shouldn't ask this question, but the amount of love that you've poured into us this morning, I want in some way for you to have it in return. You know, there's some things that I have done in my life where I go, you know what? I will spend the rest of my life making sure that I make good on that. And in some way, in looking this morning, I'm looking saying, wow, maybe I haven't completely forgotten, not forgotten, forgiven myself yet. So that brings me to pouring my love into you, Tara and Kathryn, by asking this question. Tara, have you forgiven yourself? And have you forgiven your son?
That's an excellent question. I've forgiven my son. Whether he's forgiven himself fully, I'm not completely confident in. What I struggle with was when Caroline was sick for so long. I mean, she's, she still is, but all the trauma. Wilson was the oldest and he was neglected. And I deeply regret that. I don't know if it would have changed his path. But I do know this. I mean, it's something for me to ponder. So thank you for asking it. But I don't walk around with guilt. Regret, sure, regret. And what do you do with regret? You learn from it. And I've told him how sorry I am that he was neglected and that I let him handle seizures and help with Caroline and do things that were so traumatic. In the moment, I just didn't know. So I don't think I've not forgiven myself. But I think probably why Kathryn thinks it's amazing that I keep trying to bring good from this by reaching out to the other family and doing positive things. I think that's what keeps me on the straight and narrow. So I'm not so sure I know the answer, but I'll have to give it some thought.
Thank you for getting the question. And thank you for getting all up.
Yeah, thank you for listening. It's certainly not an easy topic to talk about, but I just feel, and Kathryn does too, if we don't share our experiences with authenticity, what are we doing here, And for Chase to say that this morning filled him up, I mean, it's all that matters. It touched someone in a positive way. I can go on about my day and something good has happened. And that's more of a gift than I can begin to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Sorrel. Tara, my wish for you is that as you ponder that, you find that forgiveness, whether it's there already, you learn that, or that you find a way to give yourself that gift because you so deserve it.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
Rashida, got just a couple minutes left. But yeah, we can take a couple questions.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Tara. Kathryn, thank you so much for, I would say a bucket full of nuggets. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's just hoping back home in my family life, because it's something similar like that happening to my family 43 years ago. And hearing you sharing your story is like yesterday it happened in our family. A guy run my brother half the road and kill him. They took him to jail, but it was my brother best friend. And my brother wife and my mom went and took him out the jail before my brother was buried because he wanted to be there. And until today, that gentleman have replaced my brother's life with getting so close to my mom. They are the best of friends 43 years later.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing how we just are able to forgive. We make a difference in people's life. Even though that we think that they disrupt our life, it's, for me, it was just the universe and the setting and the mindset of my mother able to forgive this gentleman, this young man, at the time we was mad, my sister, my brothers, everybody was mad. I said, what is wrong with my mom? But 43 years later, I understand when she said, I have to forgive. I cannot, he cannot bring back my son. So if I forgive, I will be able to fulfill other people's life. And he has 3 kids. My brother has 3 kids and his friend have 3 kids. He said, he took away my son, but I cannot take away the kids and father. And he didn't went to prison. And everybody say he meant to go to prison. He
Yeah.
did not go to prison because my mom and my sister-in-law forgive him. So Tara, when I hear your story, I can relate to it. I can relate to it
I
by
know.
the minute. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome. I know you can. I know we're running over, but Stan doesn't always pop in for a question. So let's make time for Stan and Cece. And if people have to jump off, we'll let them jump off.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I wanted to say, Tara, is thank you so very, very much. They say that the greatest thing that you can give a person is to give them an example.
Mm.
And you give us an example
Wow.
of forgiveness. And Rashida's mother and Rashida, just thank you for the example. Can't keep the tears back. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan.
Cece.
Good morning, everybody. I
Morning.
love your transparency. Thank you so much for teaching us what forgiveness is. It's an opportunity to create joy for somebody else. Every tragedy, trauma, trial is for the good for something else. So I count it all as joy. You count it all as joy when you go through something, because when you get through, you've blessed somebody else. So thank you so much for sharing forgiveness and showing it. And I pass.
Thank you. Cece, it's beautiful. And you're right. It's an opportunity for joy. And we're the ones who have to grab that, seize that opportunity and turn it into something. It's so true. What a powerful, powerful day. Tara, thank you. Thank you I'm honored to be your friend. You are amazing. I don't care if you don't like it if I say it. You are.
I don't like it.
Fact. The fact. You make me uncomfortable all the time. So this is your turn. And today, you don't know this, but we're going to do the tenets together as we close out. So yeah, thank you everybody for being with us today. Thank you for bringing your good energy and for allowing us to offer anything that might fill you up today. So, and we're going to end with our tenets, and we're going to start with love, because love supersedes all. So share your love today for yourself, for others, and for those that you need to forgive.
And give. I was just telling this to Wilson last night. We can give in a lot of ways, but our time and our hearts, that's big.
Yeah. And laugh out loud. Find a friend, tell a joke, be silly. There's so many reasons to laugh. Find just a few today.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to tell myself this one today: stress less. It is not worth it. And your health needs you to stress less.
Yes. Eat mostly plants. By the way, we have to figure out what we're having for dinner, Tara. So tonight it will be plants. Our bodies will thank us.
You know it. You know it. And then we will sleep. We will sleep better.
Yes.
Finally.
Move that body. Thank you all so much for joining us today on the Daily Huddle. Move that body. They say move it or lose it.
That's right.
Well, tomorrow on
Thank you, Kathryn.
Thursday.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
One love,
Thank
guys.
you.
One love.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
One love.
Thank you, Rashida.